last video in the series in traditional Chinese medicine on the meridians. And the last pair is the gallbladder and the liver. They work together. The gallbladder is yang and the liver is yin. So the gallbladder runs on the outside of your body and the liver runs on the inside, yin. I'm going to trace points for you and show you how it flows. And I'm going to give you some nice tips and self-care exercises to help you unblock the meridians if you're having trouble, because as I've said and many times, when you have pain or tenderness or soreness in a spot, that's usually blockage. So using acupressure is a great way to help unblock that point, which helps the meridian flow more efficiently. And that's what we need. We need flow in life, right? Because when you flow, you go. So I'm going to start out by showing you the gallbladder meridian, and it is the most important, most complex meridian in the system, and the longest, because it is the only one that goes from the top of your head to the tip of your toes, like literally runs through your entire body. And it's the only meridian that does that. And you're thinking the gallbladder organ is this, little bitty thing, but it's a big thing. It's a big deal. It helps with planning and judgment, and it peaks at 11 p.m. to 1 p.m. And a lot of people that stay up late, they are the most creative between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. And that is the gallbladder meridian. That's how it works. It governs judgment and planning and how you plan and how clear thinking you are, because a lot of the points are in the head. So the gallbladder meridian is extremely important to keep it healthy. And then the liver, it filters, it helps eliminate toxins, and if you hold anger inside your body, it hurts the liver. We've all heard that. If you hold anger, that's your liver, and you need your liver to filter and release. So if you have a problem with anger, then you need to work on the liver meridian. So that being said, let's start with the gallbladder meridian. The gallbladder meridian begins on the outside corner of each eye. It's bilateral. The meridian runs bilateral on both sides of the body. And it begins on the outside corner of the eye. And it comes up to about here. And then it goes behind both of your ears. It kind of zigzags. And then it comes back up to the middle of your forehead, above about 1 finger length above your eyebrow. This is a really important point to hold if you're stressed and you need a little bit of clear thinking. Lightly. A lot of points you can hold a lot of deeper pressure, but this point here, you want to hold the lightest pressure possible, and the lighter the better. And just hold it. You can close your eyes, but this enables clear thinking. So if you're stressing and you need to just chill for a minute, just take some really nice, deep, slow inhales, belly breaths through your nose, and just focus on this point here. And so then after the meridian here, it's going to go up to the skull. It's going to go all the way back to the back of the skull, to the base of the skull. This point at the base of the skull, you can feel it if you tilt your head back. Right there is a really important point of releasing tension, stress headaches, neck tension. If you're having trouble focusing, that point, a lot of energy tends to get blocked there. It's a really important point. And then it goes to the top top of the shoulders. So about, like if you go to the bottom of your neck and you just kind of hold your shoulders here, that point is there, and a lot of people hold tension in their shoulders. And this is a really good release point to work with, that one behind the skull, right at the base of the skull. So if you're having a lot of tension, stress, muscle tightness, work on those 2 points together and you'll get a lot of tension release. And I'll show you some exercises later. So traveling the gallbladder meridian, it travels the shoulders and then it kind of zigzags and it goes like to the back of the shoulders, the back of the ribs, and it follows the rib cage. So if you follow your rib cage, it kind of comes around to where your ribs are, kind of zigzags. It all zigzags the entire sides of your body. It comes to the rib cage, and then it stops like right at your kidneys, and that's the kidney alarm point there at the base of your ribs. So if you're having kidney trouble, right there at the base of your ribs. If you're sore, right there, you follow along your ribs, right at the end of your ribs. You can feel that. And if it's sore, that's an alarm point for your kidneys. So be aware of that, to check your kidneys there. And then the gallbladder meridian, it goes into the hips, kind of zigzags through the hips there. And a really good point on the hip line is right at the back. You can feel your hip bone here on the side and right at the back of it. It can be tender and sore as well. That's a really good point for releasing tension as well. And then the gallbladder meridian, it just flows right down the outside of your legs. That good muscle relaxing point is right at the outside of your knee. You can kind of feel a little hollow point right under the bone, and it's on the side. It's really close to the infamous stomach point that's on your shin, but it's further on the outside of your legs, the outside of your knee. And this is a good muscle relaxing point for your whole entire body. So if you just need to relax muscles in your body, this is a really good point to rub. You can rub it with your fists, and you can rub it with your fingers, you can pat it, whatever you need to do. But that's a really good gallbladder point as well. Then the gallbladder continues to flow down the outsides of the legs, and then down the outside of the ankles into the foot. And then it ends between the pinky toe and the fourth toe. That's where it is. So now we're going to cover the yin. We did the gallbladder, the yang on the outer part of the body, and then its pair is the liver, which runs on the inside of the body. And the liver meridian, it helps filter toxins. The liver filters toxins through your body. So the meridian is also really good for clearing the mind, and it's also a good release meridian. And it begins at the inside corner of each big toe, and then it runs through the top of the foot, and then it kind of goes around the ankle, and it starts at the inside of each leg, and it runs, if you feel like right about a hand's width above your ankle bones on the insides of your legs, that is a really good point, because 3 meridians cross there. So if it's sore or tender right there in that spot, it's like right there, right in there. That's a good, if that's a sore spot, and rub that spot and help those 3 meridians flow a little better. And so the liver meridian then continues to go up the insides of the leg, and it mirrors the gallbladder. So just as the gallbladder was on the outside of the knee, a really good liver point is on the inside of the knee, right there at the crease. You can't miss it. It's right in the crease there. And then the meridian flows inside the thigh and it goes into your groin. So if you have a lot of tension, like there's other meridians that flow into the groin area, and a lot of tension gets stored, especially for women. A lot of sexual energy gets stored here and stuck. So releasing those points in your groin area are very important. And then the meridian, it continues to flow up the inside to your ribs, and then it stops at the rib cage where the gallbladder, where I showed you where the gallbladder kind of ends at the kidney alarm point. That's where the liver meridian stops. And then the cycle starts over in the beginning in our first series where we did the lung and large intestine. The lung is the first, and the lung starts here. So this is a cycle of the meridians and pairs. Where it begins and then where it ends, they just start and they flow, and that's how they flow together. That's why it's really important to keep all these meridians flowing efficiently. And if we have any blockages in these meridians, we need to unblock them with acupressure and breathing. Breathing is the most important thing that you can do when you practice acupressure, because without the deep breaths and the focus and the intention on letting go and releasing, you're basically just giving yourself a massage, which feels nice, it feels great. And you could probably unblock a little bit just by a massage. But with the breath is our life force. So breathing into these points with intention of release, that's the most important thing you can do in this technique. And so that's why I show you where these flow and the indications of which meridian you need to unblock based on how you're feeling. So with that said, I'm going to show you some self-care techniques. Okay, so first we're going to start out with the gallbladder meridian self-care techniques. And there's several exercises you can do because, like I said, the gallbladder meridian flows from the top of your head all the way to your toes, your entire body. So entire body movement of really any kind is going to help your gallbladder meridian. So we all know that movement is exercise is really important, vital for our health. But these specific exercises are for the gallbladder meridian. So the first one, remember the point I said on the base of the skull. So what you're going to do, I'm going to turn around and show you. You're going to put your hands on the base of your skull. And your palms are going to cover your ears. So you're going to feel the base of your skull, your middle finger at the base. And you're going to take your index finger and you're going to flick. You're going to cover your ears and you're going to flick your index finger off of your middle finger, creating like a drum sound. And by covering your ears, you will hear that drum bump, bump, bump as you're flicking. And that's a very meditative practice for that very important point of relieving stress. So you can do that for 3 minutes or so. It's really good, just from almost like a meditation, because when you cover your ears with your palms and you're flicking, you can hear that beat, like a heartbeat. And it's very meditative, very relaxing, and releasing stress. So that's one for the gallbladder meridian exercise that you can do. And then there's sitting ones, there's standing ones. So there's acu-yoga, if you've heard of that. And certain yoga positions stimulate certain meridians. So another one that you could do standing would be the crossbody swing. And it stimulates that one that I said on the top of the shoulders. That helps release the tension. And I like to do, I'll show you the sitting one first for the gallbladder. Every morning, one of my exercises that I do is crossing over one shoulder and pushing in like pretty good, and then just dragging my hand across my body to my hips and just letting it release off, and do both sides several times. It feels so good. Something as simple as that feels so good and releases tension. So that's the one that I do every morning, but you can do the standing, which also, it releases that point. It's more of an active point. So you stand, and you're going to stand with your, so as you swing, one arm's going to go here, the other one's going to go here at this point on the gallbladder. So you'll be slapping this side, and you'll be slapping this shoulder, so it's opposite. And you'll just swing your body like this, and you're hitting both points. I like the sitting one because I'm not as coordinated or active. But you could do the standing one if that is better. And sitting for this point, you could just rub right there on that hip bone. That stimulates the gallbladder meridian, and then the cross one. So you could do standing or sitting, either way that you want to. And then the point on the outer thighs, because remember I said the gallbladder meridian runs all the way down the outside of your legs. So you stand with your legs spread as wide apart as you feel comfortable. And then you're going to use the heel of your palm to slide down one side. And then you're going to stimulate that point on the outside of the knee that I said. And then you're going to come back up, and you're going to do the other side and stimulate. So you do that a few times. Remember, we're breathing very deeply in and out as we do these points, because that's what helps release. When you're breathing, you're taking deep breaths. And then the last standing one is it's basically going to be just a whole body movement of just bringing your arms up and stretching, and then back down. And you can just do that with breath. And just inhale up and exhale down. Almost like you're an eagle flapping your wings, soaring. That's a really good stretch, and it just stretches all this right here. So that's the standing. And then there's some laying down exercises for the gallbladder meridian. Like I said, there's so many gallbladder meridian exercises that you do. And basically, if you think about it, any exercise that you do, whether you do a lot of yoga or just mindful stretching, if you're stimulating the outside of your body, you're stimulating the gallbladder meridian. So I'm just showing you specific ones in case you need a little extra help in figuring out. So the gallbladder meridian you can do laying down. You can lay with your knuckles under here where that gallbladder spot is, and because you're laying on, you're stimulating, and you can rock back and forth, and you can bring your knees up to your chest to stimulate that point. You can, like I said, rock from side to side, and all in the breathing, you breathe as you're doing these movements. So anything that stimulates the outside of your body, laying on your side and stretching, that's going to stimulate anything in your head. You know those massagers with the little thin pins that you can just grab? That is excellent for the gallbladder meridian, and it feels so good, just that light touch of that little comb massaging your head. excellent for just mental clarity. Like if you're up studying or working and you're just like at a stuck point in your head, just get that thing and massage your head. That is like something simple and easy. That's Gallbladder Meridian. So now with the liver meridian self-care techniques, like I said, the liver meridian flows on the insides of your legs, into the groin, and up into the ribs. And some good release techniques for the liver would be, so a sitting one would be holding the 4 gates. So you would cross one foot over your knee. And the source point for the liver is between your big toe and your second toe in the webbing, right on the top of the foot, but in between the toe. You can feel that webbing. And as you're holding that point, the hand that you're holding with, you would press it's actually the large intestine point, but it's a 4 gate. So anytime you hold opposite sides of the body on important points, it's a huge release. So you want to hold that spot here in between the webbing of your thumb and your first finger, along with the opposite side foot source point. So you hold that and breathe, and then you do that for a couple of minutes, and then change feet and hands, and that's a good liver meridian release point. So the liver holds, it's good for helping release toxins in the body, right? The actual organ is. So the meridian, if you have anger, resentment, like frustration, you want to get that out because you're clogging up your liver. You're hurting your liver. So these meridian exercises are going to help you release and get that meridian flowing so your liver can work properly. And you need your liver to filter. Very important. And so a standing liver would be hip rotations. So all you would do is you can hold your liver and just kind of like rotate your hips in a circular. And this is going to stimulate this part in your liver and in your groin area. And you just breathe in and breathe out, and then you can rotate the other side, and you do that for a few minutes, and that's going to help release anything clogged in that actual liver area. So that's a good one for releasing. A really good one. And a lot of people that have anger issues, they like to do a lot of physical activity because that helps them release that anger. That's why boxers, if you go to use a punching bag, you're releasing all that pent up anger and stress, and it's a good release. And so you have to release that, because if you hold that anger inside of your body, it's just only going to make your liver work harder, and it's not going to filter out all the toxins, anger in your body. And you've got to release that. So another exercise would to be the punching. And so you would just act like you're angry. You have big eyes and gritting your teeth, and you punch out. And you can grunt as you're doing it, because you want to release as much as you can. You punch out and you punch up. You stretching this part, stretching up, stretching this part, and you can even punch down. Just punch in all directions, and make sure you make a sound, because you want to release as much as possible, especially if you have anger issues. So that, to me, would be the most important liver release self technique, is to releasing that anger. You have to get that out, or your liver is going to be in trouble. So do those exercises, anything that stimulates around your liver area and the insides of your legs. That is really going to help your actual liver. So thank you for watching. So there we have it. We have covered the gallbladder and the liver meridian, the last pair in the cycle in traditional Chinese medicine. So I hope you have enjoyed this series. And if you have any questions or comments, please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you'd like to schedule a session or even a group class to help with others with these exercises. We can definitely do that. Please just reach out. And if you can like and subscribe for more videos, and share this video with someone that you think that would benefit for it. And I appreciate you, and I'll see you with another video soon. Thank you.